Dear friends, today we are going to tell you about a shocking incident of oppression of a righteous old man which made everyone scream. To know the complete story, stay with us. In an area of India, there lived a noble servant of Allah who was a very lucky person. Allah Ta'ala had chosen him in his special bonds in his childhood, and his parents had also passed away in his childhood. That pious man of Allah had a habit of doing his work. He had a small house that had 2 rooms and a big tree under whose shade his goats lived. After coming home in the evening, he would extract milk from those goats and heat it. He drank only from those goats. Allah Ta'ala had given him a lot of risk. He used to earn his living from his goats only. Sometimes he used to even sell these goats. His circus was going on like this. He was making his living. People also called him a goat trader. Similarly, he used to buy goats. One day a young man came to him and said, "Your business is running very well, you should get married, and she will take care of your house very well." Considering his words appropriate, Alawali married a pious woman. Both of them, my wife, used to worship Allah together. Alawali used to do the household work himself. His wife used to tell him that I myself do the household chores. You are at home. Why do they work? Allah's people say that no, it is sunnah to do household work. He always used to tell his wife that you should worship Allah and offer namaz 5 times a day. That's how the life of both of them was going on. After a year, Allah Ta'ala blessed her with a son. That son was very dear to her. She loved her son very much. Ever since the child was born, his wife started remaining ill forever. And one day came that she said to Allah, "Beloved," that is, Alawala's wife passed away, and the responsibility of his son also fell on him. He was raising his son very well. He used to pray at night and also take care of his child, and then he continued to do the same. A long time passed, and slowly his son became young. Now that person had the thought that after marrying his son, he would spend the rest of his life in the remembrance of Allah. He did not know what was going to happen to him, but he was very fond of his son. He loved his son and never let him miss his mother. Then that old man of Allah got his son married. There were only 2 rooms in his house. He gave 1 room to his son and daughter-in-law, and the other room was of Allah. The son of the old man who used to worship Allah started working in the fields. When he started going to the fields, he told his wife to take care of my Baba because he has taken great care of me from childhood till today. Now it is the duty of both of us. I want both of us, my wife and I, to take care of them together. And yes, remember one thing, my father is a man of worship, don't disturb his worship. Saying this, he went to work in his fields and his daughter-in-law cleaned the house for a few days. I cooked food, washed clothes, washed utensils, and the elders of Allah were very happy to see all this. They started thanking Allah that my daughter-in-law started doing all the work well, and now I will spend my whole life in the worship of Allah. The elders of Allah made wudu in his hand. He grabbed Tasbih and Quran Pak and went towards the forest with the goats. One day, his daughter-in-law did not come out of the room. The old man of God thought that perhaps she was unwell, so today she could not make bread in the morning. So the old man of God prepared the flour himself, made dirty roti, and did all the other household chores, and then went towards the forest with the goats. When the daughter-in-law woke up, she saw that all the household chores were done, and the roti was also ready. Seeing this, her daughter-in-law became very happy. Then he started doing the same drama every day, and every day the poor old man of Allah used to do all the household work, and was silently engrossed in his worship, and never complained about anything to his son and daughter-in-law. One day the son of the old man of Allah started saying, "Baba dear, you should not go to the forest with the goats. You should leave this work of goats now. Now I am here. There is no need for you to go to the forest. You should sit at home and worship Allah." The elders of Allah started saying that, "Son, keeping goats is sunnah, and it is sunnah to do the household work with one's own hands, so I do it." His son said, "No, Abba dear, now your old hands do not have the knowledge to do the household work yourself. When I was young, it was your compulsion. Now you don't have any compulsion. Now the responsibility of the house is of your daughter-in-law, and the responsibility of outside is mine. Now you just sit in the room and worship Allah. If you need anything, then you tell me. you will get everything once his son works in the fields. That old man of Allah was sitting in his room and praying to Allah when he lay down on the cot to rest for a while. His daughter-in-law came into the room and said, "Come on, get up. You have taken a lot of rest. Now get up and go to the house. Do all the work. Who will do it?" I have been waiting outside for so long for the old man to get up and do the work. He got up and slowly walked out, and the daughter-in-law also started shouting after him, "Come on, clean all the utensils." And yes, the utensils are clean. After doing this, you will also have to do all the sweeping and mopping. Since when will you keep eating free food at home? And yes, even if your wife was alive, I was going to make you guys do the same work. When the noble servant of Allah started cleaning the utensils while coughing. After this, she brought a bundle of clothes, placed them in front of him, and said, "Wash all these clothes and spread them." Not even half of the clothes had been washed when the Jawhar call was made. The old man immediately started performing ablution and started offering namaz as soon as When Jay offered namaz, the daughter-in-law picked up Jay namaz and threw it away. She said, "What kind of a way is this that you keep sitting for namaz all the time except work? I have seen the condition of your room. There is a bad smell coming from your bed all the time." When she went again, after the namaz was over, she stood over the namaz and held her old father-in-law's arm and forced him to wash all the clothes. After washing the clothes, he thought, "Let me offer the namaz now." But his daughter-in-law came again and started giving orders. She said that I used to drink tea with fresh milk in the afternoon in my house. But ever since I came here, I have not even got tea with fresh milk. And on top of that, all the household work has been handed over to me. And yes, my words were accepted with open ears. Listen, when your son leaves the house, you will do all the household work. I'm not your father's servant who will cook food for you and wash your utensils and your clothes. Now that poor man will not be able to wash your clothes all day long. He used to work and also worshipped Allah as much as he could with his daughter-in-law. Now, due to old age, he had become very weak. One day, he kept doing household work all day long and then kept praying to Allah and went to sleep. He could not complete it properly. Now he started falling ill. One day he remained engrossed in the worship of Allah the whole night, so much so that he offered Tahajjud namaz and Fajr namaz. After that, he kept reciting the Holy Quran for a long time for 3 days. Since then, he had been following the same routine of worshipping at night and working during the day, and even while working, he used to mention Allah with his tongue all the time, because he said that he had not worshipped Allah properly for a long time. On the third day, when he was washing the utensils, due to being very ill, the utensils were slipping from his hands and were not being cleaned properly. His daughter-in-law was holding the utensils and throwing them on his hands and started saying that these utensils should be washed again. "Clean it, we are like animals who eat food in dirty utensils." That poor fellow got up again, collected the utensils and started cleaning them again. While cleaning the utensils, he suddenly felt dizzy and fell on the utensils. That cruel daughter-in-law even once did not feel pity and started lifting him with the kick of her shoes. When he was unable to get up even with her kick, she started saying that this old man kept doing drama all the time and went and lay down inside her as soon as she heard the sound of the door opening. He came out collapsing from the room. Then he was still here lying face down in the utensils in such hot sun. His son came running out of the door. As soon as he came to his father, he started asking his wife, "Why has Baba fallen into the utensils?" "Baba, he was washing the utensils. Look, there is soap on his hands." His wife said, "I have no one to help him. He has a habit of doing his own work from the beginning. Don't waste time on these things, do them quickly. Son, take him to a doctor." The doctor quickly took him to the doctor. The doctor also gave him medicine and said that he should take special care of his diet because he has become very weak. He needs rest. I think he is not getting enough sleep. He remained tired all the time. If he wanted, he could have told everything to his son, but he did not want to spoil his son's house. The next day, when his son went to the fields, his daughter-in-law immediately went to his room and started saying, "Old man, get up. How much drama are you going to do? See how much filth is lying in the house. You have to rest." Taking the name of Allah, he got up with great difficulty, and as soon as he got up, he started coughing. His breathing was coming out with great difficulty. The poor man thought, "Let me first make tea and drink it so that it will give some relief to the throat. After that, I will wash the utensils." Just as he was holding the utensils to make tea, the daughter-in-law came to him with a broom in her hand and said, "Let's clean up first because of illness." That poor guy did a little cleaning in 2 hours and he was breathing heavily again. He thought that all this would keep happening. Why don't I first recite the Holy Quran? He mustered the courage and performed ablution from the Quran with trembling hands. The cruel daughter-in-law came to know that the old man was reading the Quran Pak. She immediately brought a broom and started beating him with the broom. But the poor guy silently kept searching for Quran Pak. The cruel daughter-in-law hit him thrice with the broom. She hit him on his shoulders. He started shedding tears in pain. He closed the Quran, got up and said, "Daughter, I can't work anymore. I don't have that much strength. I have worked all my life. But now I don't have that much courage. What should I do?" She started saying that when there is azan, then you get time, you get courage. Where do you get so much courage that you get up and start offering namaz, old man? Listen to this with open ears. You keep hitting the ground the whole day. After today, if you do all this in front of me, I will throw you out of this house. You cost so much money, you bring so many medicines. Now quickly clean the whole house, your son will come. If you try to tell anything to your son, I will destroy your son's house. The people of Allah kept listening to his threats silently. The people of Allah got up from there and started cleaning the entire house. While cleaning, they were breathing heavily. She quickly went to her room and started searching for the medicine. When she came out, she grabbed a glass of water and started eating the medicine. The cruel daughter-in-law threw the medicine in the garbage and said, "How are you going to die so soon?" When those people of Allah were hiding in their room and praying at night, they were talking to their Allah and said, "Allah, my heart desires that I should go somewhere away from this house, because by staying in this house I would like to worship you." Unable to worship properly, that old man of Allah kept crying while sitting on the matsal all night long, wondering what should I do, when after offering tahajjud namaz, he picked up his matsal, held the Quran in his hand, and went out of the house to someone. They went towards the forest. The sound of Fajr azan was echoing. Those elders of Allah were walking. They themselves did not know where they were going. A cold wind was blowing on the way. They were feeling like this, they were seeing like this. The picture of Allah was visible everywhere in the morning. He was prostrating to Allah. Those people of Allah also started offering Fajr namaz. He was reciting the Holy Quran. As soon as he started reciting, so did the birds sitting on the trees. They were listening attentively to his recitation. After reciting for a long time, they saw that the sun had risen. People came out of their homes and got busy with their work. These people of Allah themselves did not know to which area they had come while walking. That Allah, they were chanting Allah with their eyes closed and a picture in their hands. And then they heard the sound of a child crying. The child was crying very loudly. It seemed as if the child was in a lot of trouble. When they opened their eyes, they saw a man running somewhere carrying a child. The people of Allah moved towards him and started asking why this child was crying. The man wanted to relieve the pain of his helpless child. He wanted to quickly go to a doctor. That man, ignoring the words of that Allah person, moved ahead. Then from behind, the Allah person said that if this child was not treated within 10 minutes, then the poison of this poisonous thing would spread throughout his body. Now the man was surprised at this. After all, how did this old man know that his child had been bitten by some poisonous snake? That man quickly moved towards Allah's people and said, "Can you treat my child? My son has been bitten by a poisonous snake, Allah's people." The old man made the child lie down, held the child's hand, and started reading something in his mouth. After reading, the old man spit once on the place where the snake had bitten, and the child became silent, crying. The man of God repeated the same action 3 times. The child got up and started walking. The man fell at the feet of Allah and started thanking him. The man said that you have come as an angel for my son. I have seen you for the first time in this area. Where have you come from? Where is your home? Allah started smiling, and he said, "Does anyone ever have their own home in the world? We are all travelers here. I just want to worship my God. I have always worshipped in the forest, and now I'm looking for some place where I can only live, so that I can worship my Allah." The man said, "O good man of Allah, you go to our house. I will arrange a place in my house for your worship." "You have saved my son's life. I can do this much for you and O people of Allah." They said, "No, son, it is the matter of Allah Ta'ala that saves life." The man came to his house with the help of Allah. He gave him a room in which he used to sit and worship. In that man's house only his sister, his son, and he lived. That man's wife was dead, and his sister was not yet married. He was very devoted to Allah. His heart was that I should also learn the religion of Allah Ta'ala and promote the religion of Allah. He showed great love and affection. She brought food for Allah Wala. Allah Wala placed her hand on her head with great love and affection and ate the food. She always sat near Allah Wala. She used to learn the words of Allah from Allah Wala all the time, Holy Quran. She started learning the teachings of God, and gradually she became a living person in the worship of Allah. That man's house was very small, but there was peace in it. This man had nothing more than 1 or 2 goats, but as soon as these elders of Allah came there, since then his goats were blessed and there were many goats. As soon as he came to his house, he started feeding fresh goat's milk to the old man of Allah. When the man told the people of his area that this old man of Allah was, he had shifa in his hands and treated people with his knowledge. When everyone came to know about it, the people of this area started getting their diseases treated by him. The people of this area respected him a lot, although he did not do any treatment, only for the sake of Allah. They were pious people. Allah Pak placed shifa in their hands through his verses. Those elders of Allah remained busy in their worship all day long. Ever since these elders came to their house, their business has increased a lot. People came from far and wide. They used to come to him for treatment. Allah Pak would cure them, and the elders of Allah were happy to come there. Now their health had also gotten better, but they missed their son a lot. They often kept thinking that after all, what kind of life would my son be living with that woman? On the other hand, her son spent day and night searching for his father. He started getting worried all the time because of his father. Due to this problem, he could not work properly in his fields. He was getting it, but his wife was very happy about this. After all, she had lost her life to the old man. But she did not know that this happiness was only for a few days. When the time of harvest came, the crop was ruined and there was a lot of loss in it. The goats stopped giving milk. Most of the goats died due to disease. When the conditions at home became very bad, his wife started showing her true self. She started talking to her husband and quarreled with him all the time when he did not go to the fields. She would taunt him, say no to him, and even wouldn't let him eat properly. She herself would eat the food well, but she would throw whatever food was left in front of him. The poor guy would think that perhaps everything in the house was over, so she would just have to eat dry bread with water, but he did not know that she herself eats very good food. He had understood from his wife's tone that whether it was true or not, my father had left the house because of this. My father prayed at home. Because of his worship, Allah had blessed me a lot. When my father left the house, Raunak also left. Now, like his father, he started living outside the house. He also started doing the business of goats, and due to this, he started doing many things. He did not come home during the day. One day he went to a business in another area with goats. That business had very beautiful goats, exactly like the ones his father used to have. Now both the businessmen were talking when they noticed one, lying in a hut which was looking very beautiful from the outside. It seemed as if someone had decorated it with a mosque. He was arranging a deal for the goats, and he said to the man that someone lives in this hut, and the man said that yes, a very special and noble person from Allah lives in this hut, in whose hands Allah has placed a lot of blessings. Allah has placed a lot of blessings on his feet, because ever since he has come to this hut, our house has become blessed. People come from far and wide to meet him. He started saying that if you allow me, I can meet him. He was becoming very desperate to meet him. The man said that for that you have to wait a little. You will have to do this because this is the time of his special prayer. You can meet him after Asr namaz. He sat outside and waited under the tree to meet him. Till then, the man showed him a lot of hospitality. After some time, Asr reached there. Azan was given, and both of them also offered Asr namaz, and again came and sat under that tree. It was just some time before the door of the hut opened. As soon as the door opened, he stood up and saw his father after a long time. That this is my Baba. That person of Allah also rushed towards his son. Both the father and son hugged each other and started crying. The man was looking at both of them with surprise. He started saying to his father, "Baba, I am a fish to meet you." He was yearning like a fish yearning for water, and the elderly people also started saying, "Son, I too was desperate to meet you, but what could I do? It was my compulsion," and the man was not able to do his worship properly. The old man of Allah was looking at me with questioning eyes and said, "This is my son." He was surprised that, "Why did you not tell us that you also have a son?" He took the man to a different place and said that whenever I prayed, the reason was that my daughter-in-law did not allow me to worship, and I did not want my son's house to be spoiled and my worship to be disturbed. So I left the house and came back. Then the man of Allah came to his son and said, "Son, whenever you want, come today to meet me." His son said, "No, Baba dear, I have not searched for you anywhere. Without you there is no glow in the house, nor does my heart feel like it. That house seems like a graveyard without you, Baba." Dear friends, in reality, a house without the presence of parents does not remain a home, but becomes a graveyard. The Son of God was insisting like a child, and a father agreed to fulfill the insistence of his child. Now when the elderly people of Allah started leaving from there, the man, his sister and his son were crying because they did not want Allah people to leave from there, but they were forced by the hands of their son and went with their son. The son himself had not come to his house for a long time. When he knocked at his house after a long time, his wife came running to open the door and asked who was there. Her husband said, "Open the door, it's me." When she opened the door, her eyes widened with surprise after seeing the scene in front of her. She was surprised that after so long, this old man had come again and would make their life miserable. Seeing his daughter-in-law, the people of Allah had understood that he was not happy with his arrival. She greeted him and went inside. When the evening meal was being served, the son started going inside to call his father. His wife said, "Let him stay. Let him rest. I will bring his food to him in the room so that he can eat comfortably," she said. "I thought that today Baba Jan would eat food with us. He had not eaten food with us for a long time." She started eating with a hanging face. He went to call his father. Both father and son were eating food with great joy and happiness. Allah. The old man's routine was the same. After the Isha prayers at night, he would remain engaged in prayer for a long time. While offering tahajjud and morning prayers, he would keep on reciting the Holy Quran till the sun came up. She was silently tolerating all this because her husband was present in the house at that time. When her husband went out of the house, she went straight to Allahwalla's room and started shaking his cot with her foot. She said, "Come on, get up now. Clean yourself. Where did you come from? We're already dying by raising our mouths to break the bread." I was thinking that he might have died by drowning. As usual, he got up and started cleaning quietly. Then washed the utensils, washed all the clothes, and then he was cleaning his room. His son came, and when the son saw that his father was cleaning, he said, "Baba, why do you need to do the work? Your daughter-in-law will do all this. Why are you worried?" Hearing this, the daughter-in-law came running and said, "Hey Baba, by doing all this work you embarrass us. I will do everything. Just take rest. Now it is your age to rest. Now the same life has started again, working every morning, neglecting to offer namaz. Sometimes namaz would be missed because the daughter-in-law was irritated by praying." Life was going on like this. One day it was very sunny, and that old man was cleaning the utensils in the sun. While he was cleaning the utensils, the outer door opened and a girl entered inside. She was the same girl who had this. The elders had come and were teaching them the religion of Allah. When she saw that he was washing the utensils, she started asking, "Why are you washing the utensils? Where is your daughter-in-law?" When the man of Allah saw that girl, he became very happy and then asked, "It seemed that my daughter-in-law was having a lot of headaches, so I thought that I would clean the utensils." Dirty utensils were lying there. It was not looking good. "Please tell me, how are you?" She said, "Baba, I am fine in my own house. I don't feel like it since you have come from that house. Our heart doesn't feel like it. Brother is also very worried for you and misses you very much." That girl also considered Allahwallah as her father, because that girl also considered Allahwallah as her father. This girl was very fond of worshipping. She had learned a lot of religion from Allah's people. When this girl met Allah's people, then that girl would have seen her father in Allah's people, and she would have got the same compassion as him, and this Allah's people also considered her as her daughter. The way he used to love me, And today, as soon as she entered his house to meet him, seeing him in this condition, and said, "Baba dear, you are not feeling well and you are washing utensils in such hot sun. Leave it, I will do this work myself." That girl took Allahwala to his room. At the same time, his son came there. He had entered the house with the goats. He started asking his wife, "Who is this Babajan talking to?" His wife should tell him. I thought I didn't know who those two were. My wife came and saw who Babajan was talking to. Seeing them, the girl stood up. The girl was in full hijab. She replied with salutation to them and started telling his wife how Babajan made this girl his daughter because Allah's people had already told everything to their son. "Now you are not my son alone, I also have a daughter." He said Tibo to his wife and went away from there because he knew. It was said that this girl was wearing a veil. His wife started saying for show that, "Okay, I will make tea for you." Both father and daughter got engrossed in making the tea. She was making faces that earlier one old man was not enough. Now she has also come and made faces. She picked up a glass of water and brought it to the girl. She handed it to the old man of Allah and said, "Baba, drink this water, you can't even breathe." Her daughter-in-law said, "No Baba, it's okay, I just coughed a little." This Baba is not even taking medicine. He starts doing the work himself because he has a habit of doing the household work himself even before my arrival. The girl started saying that you should not let him do your household work. If they do the work themselves, then hold them and make them sit and tell them to worship only Allah. Allah has liked them for their work. After that, the girl started saying, "Baba, do you know that I used to teach Quran to the children?" He was very happy to hear this and gave him love. The girl said, "Baba, please pray for me so that I can succeed in my purpose. You know that my purpose is only to make children hafiz Quran. You take care of your health." She said to keep it and went away from there. Those people of Allah were removing the tiredness of the whole day. He was sitting on his bed praying the rains. The cruel daughter-in-law came to his room and grabbed his picture, threw it away and asked who would do the rest of the work. "If you want to live here, you will have to work. You have a great love for your son. Do your son's work too." He told his daughter-in-law, "Son, do whatever you want me to do and don't throw my picture. Don't be so cruel. Allah does such a thing." The poor guy was just saying something when the cruel daughter-in-law slapped the old man and pushed him out of the room. She said, "Come on, old man, do your work as quickly as he prays. If you work so quickly, then the work of hours can be done in minutes." Maybe that poor guy got up with his trembling legs and started sweeping the sand. Due to the raw sand, a lot of soil was rising. Now due to the flying of that soil, Allahwala started coughing. He kept coughing in that sand for a long time. He remained sitting in the room, but the cruel daughter-in-law did not feel any pity for him and said, "Come on, old man, hurry up, you have so much work to do." His daughter-in-law deliberately kept him working, even though there was no work. Today the old man had done a lot of work, due to which Allah Almighty had done a lot of work. Since then he had not even eaten food, and he was not even allowed to offer namaz because his daughter-in-law was not allowing him to offer namaz. Today he was crying a lot, but no one could stop his tongue from remembering Allah. He was chanting Allah with his tongue. When he got tired in his room at night, after performing ablution, he looked at the musalla. There was no musalla. When he looked at the tasbih, it was also not there. But that person of Allah did not lose courage. He spread a clean cloth and offered namaz, and when the morning came, after the Fajr prayer, he was reciting the Holy Quran. The sound of utensils was heard outside. She was throwing her utensils loudly. Those people of Allah left the recitation of the Quran and came out. What did they see? There are heaps of utensils scattered all over the place, and dirty clothes lying on one side. Perhaps her son had gone early in the morning with the goats. Hence she was making a scene this morning so that she could not pray. Despite being a Muslim herself, she was very irritated by his worship. As soon as the people of Allah started coming towards her room, the cruel daughter-in-law caught hold of his hair and threw him down. When he started getting up, she placed the shoe on his beard and said, "You old man will never leave our lives. Torture you as much as you want. Come on, get up quickly and do all the work." He did all the household work. Then he started searching for the Holy Quran and he came to the daughter-in-law's room. When I came, I started hitting him with shoes, but he remained engrossed in his recitation of Allah because he knew that he had done all the work, and now no matter what happens, he would not get up from here without completing his recitation. After beating her a lot, she saw that it was not going to move from here. Then she thought, why not? I should remove the Quran pack from my house, neither the bamboo nor the flute play. She started holding the Quran pack to throw it, Then her hand and her legs became crooked. The skin on her face was starting to peel off strangely. In no time, the woman assumed the shape of a __. When that man of Allah looked behind him, he saw a long tongue wailing. The man of Allah was looking at him. When Bekdiyar came out of the room while mentioning Allah, then he looked ahead and saw his son standing. That is, his son had seen everything with his own eyes. She became a __, and came towards her husband. When her husband saw her, he started touching his ears. Her entire body had become like that of a dog, but her face remained the same as it was. She was the same woman who used to stop the elders of Allah from worshipping. Every person in that area was cursing her. The Son of Allah had turned her into a __. The woman was thrown out of the house. This woman had become a warning sign for the people. The children of that area were afraid to see her. People caught hold of her and left her in the forest. There the wild animals tore her to pieces. The news had spread like wildfire in every part of India. When this news reached that place, both the sisters and brothers came to that elder of Allah and started saying, "Baba, know what all this happened." The elder of Allah started saying, "Son, see if anyone. If you are a true Muslim, then if one Muslim is praying, then another Muslim seeing him starts offering namaz. But my daughter-in-law was not like that. Whenever she prayed to Allah, she got irritated by my worship. Allah Ta'ala punished her for her actions, and he was made a sign of warning for the people. And anyway, Allah Ta'ala knew that this is not worthy of my son. This is my daughter who is worthy of my son." The old man from Allah's people married his son to her sister, now Allah's people. The daughter opened a small Jamia in her own house, in which the children of that area were receiving religious education, and some children were becoming Hafiz of the Quran. Now the people of Allah were very happy with their daughter-in-law, because she considered them as her daughter-in-law. I had got a daughter, and now it had become a very nice family, and everyone was living happily. Dear friends, we cannot say with certainty whether this story is true or not, but this is a strange story from which we should learn a lesson in Allah. We should turn towards and pray to Allah. May Allah give us the right understanding of religion and give us the ability to respect our elders. Ameen, friends. How did you like this story? Do tell us your opinion in the comment box and give this video a thumbs up. Please like it and share it with your friends. We will meet you with another new video. Till then, Allah Hafiz.